What's up, everybody? This is Mr. 100K a day, and today we are giving it up to one of the all-time greats of track and field, our boy Carl Lewis. Now, Carl Lewis, of course, he's a manly man. He's a man that everybody can respect. Why? Because he represented the United States and everything it has to offer to the fullest. Now, what Carl Lewis did was he won 9 gold medals at the Olympics. Nine gold medals at the Olympics, 7 individual. So let's just look at Carl Lewis's resume. He won and I'm sorry, 1984. God, I just talk about how much time is going past. He won 4 gold medals. Four. He won the 100. He won the 200. He won the relay, and he also the 4x1 relay, and he won the long jump. He went on to win 4 Olympic back-to-back long jump competitions. And that's great. Nobody's ever done that since. And I don't think anybody will do that again because you got to be a hell of a long jumper to do that. So one thing I like about Carl is the fact that he is a manly man, a man that everybody can respect because of his stats, because of the way he represented himself on the track and in his personal life. He's definitely someone who people could look up to. And he paved the way for a lot of track and field people to be able to come along and, make money. Because at the time he came, it was a lot of amateurism. And people was like, man, we want to get paid. And it's just how it is. A lot of people were not really getting paid in track and field because it was considered to be an amateur sport. So, with that being said, and this extremely manly man have already shown that, based on his stats, he's amazing. Okay, let's look at his resume on World Athletics. Born in 1961, and if you go back and look from some things that he was doing back in 1979 when he was about 18 years old, right before the 1980 Olympics, which the United States ended up boycotting, he was a pretty decent long jump. He's jumping 808, 809, and things like that. Um, those were still great performances. Nobody can ever take that away. And this is when he was only about 18 years old. So I think the biggest thing that I take away from Carl's resume is that in 1980, and this is when we boycotted the Olympics in Moscow, he was running decent times. Now, at the trials, at the Olympic trials in Eugene, Oregon, he ended up getting fourth. He ran 10.32, and he was only about 18, 19 years old, but he ran 10.3, got fourth, but we boycotted the Olympics anyway. So he probably would have been on the relay, and he may have. Let me see how he did in the long jump at trials. It doesn't say, but at NCAA's, of course, it says he got first, I believe. So he did well. I think that was maybe his only collegiate season, also. But regardless of all that, I know he had some eligibility problems based upon how things that he did while he was in college, but that's another story. But in 1980, when we boycotted the Olympics, his fastest time that year legal appears to be 10.21. I'm not sure if he had any wind at time. I think he didn't have any wind at time. I think this is everything. But regardless, he still was a decent performer. He went 20.66. The significant thing, he went 8:35 in a long jump. Wind dated, but still a good jump nonetheless. 1981 was an even more prosperous year for him. Okay, United States Olympic, missed the Olympic thing, missed the Olympics in 1980, but 1981 was a breakout year for him because he really came down in the performances. If you see, he went 10 flat, electronic time, of course. I believe that was electronic because it says 00 and it does not say it was hand time. But let's just say for the sake of argument, it was legal and it wasn't hand time. So 10 flat with a 0 win is pretty good, especially at that time. And he ended up going his first sub 10 clocking, which was at the NCAA championships that year. So he did run 2 years at NCAA's at least. He won NCAA's with a 9.99, 2.6 win. This is 1981. That's pretty significant. Now, for the rest of the year, no, he didn't really do a whole lot. He went to some meets, and he went to the World Cup in Rome that year, which is now called the World Championships, and he got dead last. Maybe he was injured because he got 10-9, but still, he still had a pretty decent year winning NCAAs and running his first, even though it was win dated, sub 10. The big thing that we see is that he went 749 in the long jump. I'm sorry, 849 in the long jump. He went 840. He had some pretty big jumps. His long jump in 1981 improved significantly. He also improved significantly in his win legal jump, because you see he went up to 862. 862 is extremely, extremely good. He's really pushing it. So I can go on here. In 1982, he also went on to do some great things. 1982, it seems as if he went crazy. 10 flat. He got in them low tens a lot more. And this wasn't even an Olympic year, so he probably didn't have to be in top shape, but he knew what was coming. 1983 on down. Of course, 1983 was big for him because that's the year of the World Championships, and he wins his first world title. So I'm not going to go into all his seasons, but what I will do is this. I just want to show just how early on he had a lot of promising elements to him, and he ended up progressing and doing good things over the course of his career. So we got to give it up to my man. So his personal best overall ended up being in the 66.60, which is garbage. But everybody know Carl Lewis was a finisher. He wasn't a starter. 109.86. And he did that at the age of 30. At age of 30. And that was pretty good in Tokyo. But the strange thing about his 9.86, after that race, he never won another title again. As a matter of fact, I don't think he ever medaled again in a 100-meter dash. I'm sorry, he never won another sprint title. After that race where he broke the world record, he really never won another 100-meter dash ever on a global stage. And I don't think he ever medaled again, because in 92 he didn't make the team. In 93 he didn't make the 100 team, I don't believe. Or he didn't, I know he didn't medal. In 95, of course, he didn't make it. 96. So yeah, I don't think he ever got another world or Olympic title again. His fastest win at the time was 9.78 with a hurricane behind a 5.2. 1975 in his 200 was kind of the thing that kind of bothers me about him, because I feel like he had a lot more improvement to do there. Because if you look at that race from 1983, he threw his arms up and celebrated probably about 20 meters from the line. And at the time, the world record was 19.72 at altitude, Mexico City, by Pedro Minaya. And I feel like that record was soft. But Carl Lewis never improved on this time, even though he celebrated. That was the crazy thing. He ran that time, in 1983, but he celebrated, but he never improved on that time. His fastest indoor track time in the 200 was 20.75, which wasn't that significant because, the real killers don't pay attention to indoor track anyway. He ran a lot of great ankle legs on the relay. They had the 4x1 record for a while, 37.40, until Usain Bolt and the Jamaicans ended up breaking. And of course, everybody knows he went 887 at the 1991 World Championships, and he lost that because that was the championship in which Mike Powell broke the world record. Overall, I got to give Carl Lewis probably the top 1, 2, or 3. As far as two, as far as male, he definitely got to be with him and Usain Bolt. And Usain Bolt may not even beat him as the top male of all time track and field athlete, simply because of the fact that Carl Lewis did the long jump also. He did that long jump, and that long jump makes a difference. And he had better longevity. But Usain Bolt had better longevity in the sprints. So, I got to give it up to Carl Lewis. He's an amazing athlete. He's a manly man. He represents what a lot of men in the United States seem like they want to be these days. And he definitely is a beacon of success in track and field. So we got to give it up to Carl Lewis. This has been another episode of The Biggest Hater in Track and Field. And today we was representing Carl Lewis. If anybody agrees with me, please come in the comments. If anybody got any questions, comments, or suggestions, please come in the comments. If you agree or disagree that Carl Lewis is one of the greatest of all time, a real GOAT. Catch everybody later. Peace.